darkness, heavy, suffocating darkness. The old house creaked and groaned under the weight of the starless night. Wind howled outside, rattling the windows like skeletal fingers tapping to come in. Inside, the atmosphere was thick with unease, each gust a whisper urging towards fear. Spooky stories and childish fears that vanished with the sunrise seemed trivial. But tonight was different. Tonight, the shadows seemed deeper, the silence punctuated by sounds too subtle to place. A floorboard creaked on the floor above. A tap dripped in the silence. The old Victorian house had been in the family for generations, a place of warmth and laughter and childhood memories. Running through its grand hallways, laughter echoing off the high ceilings, and the smell of grandmother's cooking wafting from the kitchen. The house had been a sanctuary, a place where every room held a story, every corner a cherished memory. Now it felt like a stranger, its familiar rooms shrouded in an unsettling gloom. The once vibrant walls seemed to close in, the air thick with a sense of foreboding. The house that had once been filled with light and life now seemed to harbor shadows and secrets. Every corner held a flicker of movement, every creak a whispered threat. The shadows seemed to dance just out of sight, and the feeling of being watched was inescapable. The house was alive in a way that was both unsettling and inexplicable. Walking through the dimly lit hallway, a hand trailing along the rough wallpaper, the texture was familiar, yet it felt different, almost as if the walls themselves were trying to communicate. The history of the house pressed in, the weight of generations past. The air felt heavy, thick with unspoken secrets. It was as if the house was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. The whispers of those who had lived there before seemed to mingle with the creaks and groans of the old structure. The grandfather clock at the end of the hall hadn't been ticking just a moment ago. Its silence had been a comfort, a reminder of the house's stillness. But now, the sudden sound of its ticking filled the hallway, breaking the silence with its ominous rhythm. Now, its pendulum swung with a slow, deliberate rhythm, each tick marking off another moment of mounting unease. The sound seemed to grow louder with each passing second, echoing through the empty halls and amplifying the sense of dread. The feeling that the house was trying to communicate something, that it was alive with a presence that couldn't quite be understood, was overwhelming. Taking a deep breath, steeling for whatever lay ahead, knowing that the House of Shadows held more than just memories. It held the key to a mystery that was determined to be unraveled. Climbing the grand staircase, each step echoed in the stillness. There was a whisper, a soft, breathy sound, just at the edge of hearing, stopping, heart pounding against ribs, silence. Taking a deep breath, it was just the wind, just the house settling. But deep down, a primal fear twisted in the gut. There was something wrong here, something that couldn't be explained, something that made the hairs on the back of the neck stand on end. Reaching the top of the stairs, the attic door came into view, its paint peeling, the wood warped with age. A shiver ran down the spine, recalling how grandmother had always forbidden anyone from going up there, filling heads with stories of trapped spirits and forgotten evils. The door was locked, a heavy padlock securing it. Why had grandmother locked it? What was being hidden? Curiosity warred with fear. The whispers seemed louder now, insistent, beckoning closer. The need to see what was behind that door grew stronger. Emily went back downstairs, searching for the key. The old house seemed to watch her, its silence a living presence. Finally, in a dusty drawer, she found a ring of tarnished keys. One by one, she tried them in the padlock, until, with a heavy click, it sprung open. The metallic scent of rust filled the air as she pushed the attic door open. Dust motes danced in the single beam of moonlight that sliced through the darkness. The air was stale, thick with the smell of decay and forgotten things. The whispers were gone, replaced by an unnerving silence. Taking a hesitant step inside, the darkness seemed to swallow everything. The floorboards groaned underfoot. Suddenly, a sound pierced the silence. Laughter, high-pitched, chillingly innocent. It seemed to come from the far corner of the attic, swallowed by the shadows. Blood ran cold. There was someone, or something up here. Heart hammering, there was a frantic search for the light switch. The bare bulb flickered to life, casting long, dancing shadows across the room. The laughter stopped as abruptly as it had begun. The attic was crammed with forgotten furniture, shrouded in white sheets. In the center of the room sat a rocking chair, its back turned. It was moving, rocking back and forth as if propelled by an unseen hand. The sight of the chair made the air feel heavy, breath catching in the throat. Slowly, steps were taken towards it, a hand outstretched. As the hand reached the chair, it stopped rocking. A cold draft swept through the attic, sending a chill that went deeper than the bones. It was then that a small dusty doll was noticed lying in the seat of the chair. The doll was old, porcelain, its painted features cracked and faded. It had been sitting in the attic for decades, collecting dust and memories, forgotten by time. Its eyes, once a vibrant blue, were now vacant and staring. They seemed to follow any movement, as if the doll was silently pleading for attention, for recognition. Upon picking it up, a shock ran up the arm. It was as if the doll was alive, transmitting a jolt of energy that made the heart race and the mind flood with questions. It was then that the inscription etched on the doll's back was noticed. For Emily, may she never forget. The words were haunting, a message from the past that seemed to bridge the gap between generations. The laughter, the rocking chair, the doll. It was all connected. Each element was a piece of a puzzle, a fragment of a story that had been buried deep within the walls of the old house. These were pieces of a family's past, whispers of a history long forgotten. The attic was a treasure trove of relics, each one holding a secret, a memory, a piece of an identity. And as the doll was held, the realization dawned that the fear felt wasn't for oneself. It was a fear that transcended time, rooted in the experiences of those who had come before. It was for the child who had once played with this doll, a child whose laughter still echoed in the darkness. The echoes were not just sounds, they were memories, imprints of a life that had once been full of joy and innocence, now overshadowed by an inexplicable sadness. The truth had to be uncovered. The darkness that had shrouded the family's history for so long needed to be confronted. With a deep breath, the resolve to piece together the fragments, to bring light to the shadows, and to finally understand the legacy left behind was strengthened. Sifting through old family photos, dusty albums, and letters, each one revealed a new layer of the past. The more that was discovered, the more connected one felt to the generations that had come before, and the more determined one became to honor their memories. Finally, with a sense of acceptance and understanding, the doll was placed back where it had been found. It was no longer just a creepy relic. It was a symbol of the journey, a testament to the strength and resilience of the family. As sunlight streamed into the attic, a sense of peace was felt. The darkness had been confronted, and one emerged stronger, ready to face the future with a newfound sense of hope and purpose. The attic was dimly lit, a doll clutched tightly in hand. A flick of the light switch, but the bulb remained stubbornly dark. Plunged into darkness, there was a stumble back, heart racing, and then a sight in the darkness. In the dusty mirror on the wall, a reflection, but it wasn't the expected one. It was the shadowy figure of a young girl, her face obscured by darkness, standing right behind. And in the reflection's hand, not the doll, but the rocking chair, frozen in mid-swing. The attic was empty, bathed in moonlight that cast eerie shadows on the old wooden floor. The silence was deafening, and the weight of the years seemed to press down, with memories of the past whispering in the corners of the room. A rocking chair stood motionless, as if time had stopped in this forgotten place. Once a symbol of comfort, it now seemed to hold secrets of its own, secrets that were better left undiscovered. The only sound was the beating of a heart, echoing in the silence, a constant reminder of fear and uncertainty. Each beat grew louder, matching the rhythm of growing anxiety. The shadows seemed to move, playing tricks on the mind. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the wind outside made one question their solitude. The air was thick with tension, almost as if another presence lurked just out of sight. As the attic door slammed shut, one question lingered in the air, unanswered and unsettling. Who was the reflection in the mirror, and what had become of the little girl with the haunting laughter? The image of the girl's face, frozen in time, haunted the thoughts. The laughter, so innocent yet so chilling, echoed in the mind, refusing to be silenced. The house was silent now, the wind had died down, and the only sound was the creaking of the old structure. It was as if the house itself was alive, breathing, watching. The walls seemed to close in, the weight of the past pressing down, suffocating. This night would never be forgotten. The night that revealed some secrets are better left buried, some whispers better left unheard. The memories of the attic, the reflection, and the laughter would remain forever, a constant reminder of the mysteries hidden in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered.